Hare Krishna, we continue with our overview of the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. So, this we heard before that in the beginning of the 5th chapter, Arjuna is asking that question, what is better, renunciation or devotional service? And Krishna has replied, both are good for liberation, but devotional service is better because it's more easy than just renunciation. It gives engagement in the senses, but it gives the same result because attachment to Krishna is the same as attachment for matter, we heard. One who acts in devotional service does not think that he himself is the doer. And Krishna has explained that our senses are interacting with the object of the senses, and while we are sleeping, walking, eating, and moving around, that in fact the soul does nothing. Everything is done by material nature, and therefore the spirit soul will act in accordance with the desire of the super soul. He becomes untouched by material reactions, like water is not impregnating a lotus leaf. The water falls on the leaf and does not impregnate and the water drop rolls from it. So one does become not affected. So today in the next section, we will hear that Krishna speaks about the relationship between Ishvara, Jiva, and Prakriti. We need to know this relationship between these three. Ishvara means Krishna or the super soul here. Jiva means us. And Prakriti is material nature. So the super soul controls material nature. And one who controls that, he can become happy in this world. Text 13. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vasi. Navadvara paredehi naikovam nakarayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all his actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, neither working nor causing to be done. Neither working nor causing work to be done. So that's interesting. Let's try to understand that. Krishna says we are residing in a city of 9 gates of the spirit soul. 9 gates. What are these gates? Next slide. It said 2 eyes, 2 gates, 2 nostrils, 4, 2 ears, 6, 1 mouth, 7, and 8 is the anus, and 9 the genitals. 9 gates. That's our city we're living in, with 9 gates. But a Krishna conscious person does not identify with the body. thus is conscious of his real self. The body is just an instrument he uses. So then next verse, next slide. So residing happily in this city of 9 gates, in the body, residing that it says, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, when the embodied living being controls his nature mentally, renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working, or something is gone with my slides here. That neither working, neither, anyway. So one lives happily in this body of 9 gates, and Krishna says one does not work. What does it mean? The soul desires, and the work is done by material nature. But one desires, and the super soul arranges that these desires are fulfilled according to what we deserve through our previous actions. And we are under control of this material nature. That when we identify with the body, we become affected. Identifying with the body means we become attached to things in this world, we become attached to the result of our work. But the result is not up to us. You can desire to move your hand, but material nature has to move the hand. You are not doing. So it depends on material nature. And since a self-realized soul understands that I'm not his body, and I'm eternal, full of bliss, he does not identify with the body, does not want to exploit things in this world to give pleasure to the body. If you want to exploit material nature and give things to the body, then you become attached to things in this world and you identify with the body. Then you cannot be happy in this city of 9 gates. That's not possible. So, Krishna consciousness means changing one's desires. Give up the desire to exploit material nature, this selfish desire that this is mine and I, give it up. And to act out of love. I want to give pleasure to God, to Krishna, that only. And therefore I want to do what he wants. So the desire of the self-realized soul is one with the desire of the super soul of Krishna. And what does Krishna desire? He explains in Bhagavad Gita. That so a devotee knows, first he wants to desire spiritually and tries to act with the body spiritually. And then he observes what the super soul does. And then one can become happy. One does not create any work in this world. The work is done by the super soul. You can only desire. But we are completely dependent on what material nature gives us according to our previous desire. Like we must act as material nature dictates us. You have a call of nature, you have to go to the toilet, right? You can say, I don't want, but you are under control. You have to go. You have the body of a dog, you can only bark. You cannot not do anything else. You are tossed by the waves of the ocean, verse 14, slide 14. That na kartrit form na karma ni lokasya chichache pabu na karma fala samyogam svadvastu bhavartate. The embodied spirit, master of the city of this body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. That's what I just explained, exactly. So as long as one is in the city of the body, we appear to be the master of it, but actually, we are not the proprietor of the body. We are also not the controller of the body, because we cannot control the actions and reactions that we get through nature. We want only happiness, but we get also distress, right? So that's not under our control. But we have caused it in previous lives, because they are reactions to our previous activities. So we are tossed by the ocean of, like this boat here. This boat goes up and down, and we go up and down. Sometimes we experience happiness of the body, distress of the body, and it goes up and down. Yes. Text 15. Now, 15 is very interesting. Nada-ch5part2 pamna-ch5 sukitam vibhu, agyaninapitam gyanam tinmyantiyantava. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. So in the previous verses, Krishna said that we are not a doer, we are only desiring. In this verse, Krishna says, I'm also not a doer. Who is the doer? It's not Krishna, it's not we. It's you, Taran Krishna Prabhu. You are the doer? No, also not. That, how can we understand that? Well, Krishna says here, I created the system, which is a fair system, and with the supreme justice. You perform material activities in your previous life, and in this life, you get exact reaction. It's very precise, this reaction. That's exactly what you deserve. But why do we get these reactions? Because of our material desires. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, and it's on the screen, desire is a subtle form of conditioning for the living entity. So Krishna consciousness means we have to change our desires. Instead of seeing things as I and mine, we should see, oh, it belongs all to Krishna, and it is for his enjoyment, not our enjoyment. And therefore we desire Krishna's enjoyment. That is love. Love means only giving to the beloved. And forget oneself, sacrifice oneself for the beloved. And mostly what goes on as love in this world is lust. You give to me and I take from you. And that's it. It's business, sexual attraction, sense gratification. Girl and boy are attracted to each other because they want to enjoy each other's bodies. So that's lust, that's not love. Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to love and develop pure love. But first you must desire that pure love. Desire is a subtle form of conditioning. And the Lord fulfills these desires, these material desires, in this life. Our desires of our previous life fulfills in this life, according to what we deserve. This man proposes, God disposes. We are not in control. God is the supreme controller. But Krishna does not interfere with our independence. What's our independence? If everything is done by material nature, what's my independence? What does the soul do? It desires. So we can desire what we want. And love is voluntary. Krishna does not force us to love him. Also, he loves us. So, Krishna conscious means learn to love Krishna. Give him everything we have. And then we get ecstasy and eternal life. So in next slide, in this verse, in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada writes, yeah, Krishna is Vibhu, we are Anu. Anu means an atomic spiritual spark. You see the atom there. That the Sanskrit word Vibhu means the Supreme Lord who is full of unlimited knowledge, riches, strength, fame, beauty, and renunciation. He's Vibhu and we are Anu, atomic. But, next slide, the super soul, he knows our desires. He feels it. Like this young boy is sniffing to a tulip. I don't know how it smells, but tulip. But it smells the flavor of the flower. So Krishna is in our heart and he understands our desires. Even before we get them to know. Because we are in the conditioned state of life, means our original mind and intelligence, our spiritual mind and intelligence has become inactive. So the soul desires, and Krishna, the super soul, takes that desires and brings it in our mind, and then we know what our desire is. So he knows it first. That he knows it, as one can smell the flavor of a flower. He knows what we desire. So many people pray to Krishna to fulfill all their desires. The devotee does not do that because he knows it already. What's the point of praying? He knows it. We just serve Krishna. Next slide. And if one understands all this knowledge, what happens? Jnanena tutat ajnanam yesham nasnamatma teshama avidya tat jnanam prakashyati tat param. When, however, one is enlightened with knowledge by which nations is destroyed, then this knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. So at night, when there is no light, you don't see anything, but when the sun comes up, you see everything. So by that, one needs that transcendental knowledge of our original spiritual position revealed within the heart. And that's becoming revealed. The first thing to get it revealed is that one meets a representative of Krishna, and that's a spiritual master. And he will teach you what is the distinction between God and the living entity. What's the difference between us? At night we see everything, we have darkness. In the daytime, when the sun is up, then we can see, oh, this is that person, that person, that person. And we can see ourselves also. So if one wakes up spiritually, by spiritual realization, one sees oneself, and one sees the spirit soul in everyone, in everybody. Next slide. Baladev Vidyabhushan, one of our commentators on this verse, comments, those who associate with saintly persons have their ignorance, which is opposed to knowledge, destroyed by that knowledge of Atma and Paramatma. So if one gets this knowledge and can and understands this relationship between this Jiva, spirit soul, the Paramatma, the super soul, and nature, Prakriti, one knows how to liberate oneself by dovetailing and by cultivating spiritual desires. That because that's what Krishna within the heart wants us to do. He wants us to follow his instructions, to act as spirit souls and not as body. Acting as spirit souls means acting as a servant of Krishna and acting out of love to please him. That next slide. Yeah, there you see the liberation of Auschwitz, and at the other side a man who is bound. So that's the people's idea of being bound and liberation. But one is bound really by subtle laws of nature, the laws of karma. And when one acts as the body, one comes under the laws of karma. When one acts as a spirit soul, one becomes free. So Vishwanath Thakur is another commentator. He said, "Thus the Lord does not bind anyone, nor does he liberate anyone." He does not do that. We are doing that by our desire. Desire to exploit, or desire to serve Krishna. And that's the difference between Vidya and Avidya. Vidya is the knowledge of the spirit soul. Avidya is knowledge of the material world. That knowledge of Prakriti, how material nature liberates us or binds us. It's by our desire. Desire is a subtle form of condition. Now, next slide. You can skip these two orange slides and go to the washing machine, 17. Now, in the next verses, till the end of the chapter, Krishna will speak about symptoms of liberated souls. It are not just symptoms, it are also lessons for us, how to act as a liberated soul. Therefore, very important. So in text 17, tat buddhas, tat atmanas, tat nishtas, tat prayana, gacchanta punaravitam, ghani nirduta kalmasam. Nirduta means washing. So you see a washing machine here. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings to complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. So what Krishna is saying here, when you use all the material assets we get, our mind, our intelligence, our words, our actions with the body, we use it all in Krishna's service. we take mentally refuge at Krishna's lotus feet, done, and we have faith in Krishna, then that washing machine will start, washing of the heart. Then all the dirt that makes us think I'm the body and acting as I'm mind is removed. All the lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, envy, desire for profit and distinction out. It's washing, because these enemies of the mind or the heart, they create attachment to things in this world and binds us and makes us, our thinking, feeling, willing, thinking, our emotions, everything, as we are the body. And that, but if we use all we have in the service of Krishna, then Krishna in the heart as Paramatma will wash away all this ignorance. And surely we will feel we are not this body, we are the soul, I'm different. That I can control my mind. Who is this I who controls the mind? Then I'm not the mind. I can direct my intelligence by faith, so I'm not my intelligence either. So here, by that we can understand. If we just understand that and we act as such, we don't take birth again. Then you get also a body, spiritual body. Spiritual body is already there. It's already there, but it's now covered. Srila Prabhupada says in many purposes, the spiritual senses are there. But they are covered by subtle senses, the subtle body, and gross senses. And we don't need that to exist. We got that from Krishna because we desire to enjoy things separate from him. Therefore we got it. We got it, but Krishna came with us. It's in our heart. Text 18, this is the realization of such a self-realized soul. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmana Kavhasti Shinshishvapakecha Pandita Samadakshina. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. So he has this realized intelligence. It's not that with our eyes we can see the soul. We can see the soul with our intelligence. We can understand that, but it's spiritual. With something material, you cannot see the mind. You cannot understand the mind with our material intelligence. You need spiritual intelligence. So the mind, the wise man sees equally the Brahman, endowed with good knowledge, good conduct, and good conduct, the cow, the elephant, the dog, and the dog eater. Such a realized soul has all good qualities, good conduct. That's wise, having good qualities. It's not a scholar who gives a talk at the university and then after that is going to smoke and drink. That's not good qualities. One must control one's senses. That's the first sama dhamastapachacham. These are the qualities of a self-realized person. Control over the senses, that clean and so on. So that's a different vision. That I know that Peter and me, we are making walks every day here, and you see so many animals, and the devotee is respectful for them. That I remember that I remarked when I was traveling with Prahlad Nanamaj, he would never walk on the grass because these are living entities. But better on the stones, on the one. He does not want to hurt any living entity. That becomes natural for a devotee. He does not want to harm any living entity. That now the bugs are gone in my room, but usually a bug means taking paper, getting on the paper and then outside carefully. We don't want to harm them. You understand? They are like me, they have a body. I'm suffering because of my body, they are suffering of my body, because of their body. We are equally suffering, so you understand that. That's knowledge. Next. So Paramatma is equal like rainfall. The rain falls on the ocean, on the agricultural ground, in the cities, everywhere. So the super soul is equal. It gives reactions to what people have deserve according to their own actions, precisely. It does not just anyone, it just gives the reactions. So Paramatma is equal, sama, everywhere, like rainfall. Since the respective species receive their forms according to their respective karmas, not through the Lord likes or dislike of certain jivas. It's not because the Lord does not, the Lord gives us distress, so he does not like it. No, it just gives you the reaction. The fault lies in us, not in the Lord. Next. Now another quality of such a self-realized soul is that their minds are established in sameness and equanimity. Ihaivatersiterisha goye samsanga stitam manaha nirdasamisamam brahma tasmat brahmani testita. Those whose mind are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the condition of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are situated in Brahman. So that such a person is a liberated person, will not take birth again. As long as we identify with the body, we are a conditioned soul. Conditioned soul means we are controlled by our likes and dislikes. I like that, I just not like that. I like this person, I don't like that person. He's my friend, he's my enemy. Then you take birth, yeah. Because there are no friends of enemies. The so-called friends and enemies gives you happiness and distress according to the reaction of your previous life, that's all. Has nothing to do with it. And that we must understand. That how do we deal with that? Someone gives us distress, this person gives us distress. Tatena kampam susamikshamo bunchatme fatmaketam vipakam ritvakva berber fidadan namaste. Shiveto Sadayabak, I missed one word. But Krishna, in the Bhagavatam it is said that if a devotee undergoes distress, then he knows that this is a reaction to my own past activities. And this person brings me the reaction. And that's what I deserve. And because I'm becoming a devotee, Krishna gives me only a little of the reaction. He's so kind. So I'm accepting it. Thank you, Krishna. I deserve it. And one does not blame that person. The person brings just the reaction. That does not mean that this person is doing the right thing. But that's not your business. You get your reactions, and he will get his reaction later. That's another thing. That's not our business. That's between this person and Krishna. He will get his reaction later. But a person does not see fault in the other person, does not see that's my enemy. One sees the fault in oneself. It's my action I've done. So in that a person becomes equal to everyone. He does not see friends and enemies. So as long as we identify with the body, we see friends and enemies. We identify with the mind. And the mind makes us mad. Attachment and aversion and so on. But the devotee is free from this attachment and aversion. What a liberation. Such a person always smiles, even in the greatest difficulties. Yes, that's an equal. Someone takes birth, the child up, and then down. This is Columbus, who detected so-called America. He's dying here. So, birth and death. The soul does not take birth and death. It's just a change of body. So a self-realized soul does not lament because someone leaves his body. You don't lament that someone takes up his clothes and take new clothes. No? That's a reason to be happy you get fresh clothes. Now, like Arjuna is going to kill Bhishmadev, his grandfather. And he says to Krishna, I don't want to do that. Will you kill your grandfather Ugrasena? He says to Krishna, who will do that? But Krishna explains him, you cannot kill Bhishmadev. That he's a spirit soul. Spirit soul cannot be killed. And Bhishmadev had a very old body. I think he was 140 years old. That if you have such an old body, then you difficult to see, difficult to hear, all your senses stop working. And Krishna says, if you kill him, he gets a new body, a fresh body. So that's a reason to be happy, not distressed. So a devotee understands these things and does not lament. Of course, if someone leaves his body, we are not without feelings. We feel separation, especially from a devotee. That can be very hard. But we know the person is now in a better situation than before, especially devotees. So, next verse 20 is about stira buddhi, how to bring this in practice. And that's an important verse that we will end with that. Napasvichat priyam papya novichat papya sabridam stira buddhira samudo brahmavid brahmani sitaha. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent and unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. So, we must learn that. If an opportunity for pleasure comes for the senses, we should not be too enthusiastic. Okay, that's form and that's nice for the body, but finally not for me. And if it's too nice, I will suffer. We'll learn that next tomorrow, that if you want to suffer, the reaction is, if you want to enjoy, then the reaction will be suffering. That so a devotee is not very eager to that. We give nice prasadam, nice food. We become enthusiastic, not just for eating, but we know it's Krishna prasad, it's Krishna. And I take just what I need to take body and soul together. But we are not controlled by that pleasure. Just what we need, balanced. And if suffering comes, we say, yes, the body is meant to suffer. How much pleasure can give this dump you? Not much. But you can put it, you can stamp on it, or you can injure it or burn it. So many ways it can give you distress, but not much pleasure. What pleasure will your kidney give you? Not much, but it can give you a lot of trouble. So trouble will be there. You are born with this distress. The body is a machine to give you suffering. And the devotee just tolerate. He does not invest his consciousness in the body. When you are in the seat of the dentist, and then time is going very slow. And when they are boring your teeth, all your consciousness is going to that. But a devotee learns to redraw its consciousness from that. He thinks of Krishna, and he forgets about the body as much as possible. He connects everything with Krishna. Therefore, he does not rejoice or lament for favorable or unfavorable conditions which are factually attained by our previous karma. They are just reactions for the body, not for us. He remains fixed in his real self and his service to Krishna. That is not bewildered, because he identifies as a spirit soul. The mind says, oh, this is very bad. Now we have to cry. The devotee controls his mind. You see this with children, they cannot control. You see them on the screen, something unfavorable is there, they start to cry immediately. But also when something nice for the senses comes, they start to smile. But we have an intellect between. Intellect develops when you get older. And that discrimination should be done on the basis that I'm a spirit soul, I have to act as a spirit soul, the body is only an instrument to be used in the service of Krishna. So tomorrow we will end chapter 5 with discussing much more qualities of such a self-realized soul and how we can learn from it to bring this in practice in our own lives. Any question? Yes?
You mentioned the verse about Vidya and Avidya, that Vidya is the knowledge of the soul, and Avidya is the knowledge of the matter.
Yeah.
Do we need to know both? Because in second chapter, said that classical, for example, they understand what is spirit and matter by studying both.
Yeah, there are two things. First, you must know how to act as a spirit soul. That's Vidya. But you must know the avidya also to avoid entanglement in the material world. You must know that you are not a doer. That you only desire. And then you become the observer of what Prakriti is doing. Because it's under control of the super soul, not us. And that's knowledge. You need both. If you have alone the knowledge how to act as a spirit soul, but you don't know that material nature is under control of the super soul, you may become entangled. So knowledge, this vidya, is the way to get liberation if one learns to act upon it. And that's what we learn. Every day we learn a few verses and the spiritual techniques, how to use this knowledge. So you need both. That's also confirmed in Shisa Upanishad. We need to know the vidya and avidya at the same time to attain liberation. It's described there literally, but that's confirmed literally in the Upanishad. Shisa Upanishad. But does that help? Something else? Good. Then we can continue tomorrow with verse 22, 21. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.